Have you ever wondered why Bai Lu, one of China's most captivating stars, seems to face an endless string of heartbreaks on screen? From tragic first loves to unreturned affections, her characters often end up walking alone under the rain, holding on to promises that never come true. Is there something deeper behind this recurring theme of romantic misfortune, or has fate simply written a story that even she cannot escape? Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel, because what you are about to discover will change the way you see Bai Lu forever. Stay till the end, because the truth behind her unlucky love stories might just leave you speechless. The story of Bai Lu has always been one of grace, strength, and quiet endurance. When she first stepped into the spotlight, her smile became her signature. It was warm, it was honest, and it carried a kind of light that pulled people in. But as her career grew, so did the patterns in her roles. Whether it was in historical dramas filled with longing or modern stories soaked in heartbreak, Bai Lu's characters always seemed to meet love halfway, only for it to fade into distance. Fans began to notice the pattern. Online forums buzzed with questions. Why does every romance she portrays end in heartbreak? Why do her tears always feel too real, too heavy, as if drawn from a place she knows too well? At first, it was just speculation. People thought it was simply her acting, precise, emotional, and deeply human. But as her roles continued to mirror sadness, a quiet rumor began to grow. Maybe, just maybe, life was imitating art. Behind the scenes, Bai Lu was known to be cheerful, hardworking, and deeply private. She never entertained gossip, never fueled rumors, and rarely spoke about her love life. Yet, that silence only made people wonder more. There were whispers linking her to co-stars, fleeting stories of secret dinners and quiet conversations. None of them ever confirmed, none of them ever denied. Every time a new drama aired, fans would look for signs, the glances, the chemistry, the small gestures. They wanted to believe that somewhere within those on-screen emotions, there was something real. But each time, the ending was the same. Her characters would lose love, and Bai Lu herself would retreat from the public eye soon after filming ended, as if carrying the pain home with her. Was it coincidence? Or was Bai Lu unconsciously drawn to stories that mirrored her own hidden heartaches? Industry insiders have shared that Bai Lu is selective with her scripts. She doesn't just choose roles that are glamorous or grand. She chooses characters that feel real, women who love too deeply, forgive too easily, and hurt quietly. Those roles, they say, come from her understanding of life itself. In interviews, Bai Lu once said something that stayed with fans for years. "Love is not about being perfect together," she said. "It's about choosing to stay even when it hurts." Those words sounded poetic then, but now they seem haunting, almost like a confession hidden in plain sight. Her portrayals in dramas like One and Only and Till the End of the Moon left audiences shattered. The emotional weight she brought to her performances made people believe she had lived through that kind of heartbreak before. Every look, every pause, every silent tear, it felt too authentic to be imagined. And maybe that's why people connect to her so deeply. She doesn't just act. She feels. She bleeds emotion into every scene, and that vulnerability becomes her strength. But as the years passed, the line between fiction and reality began to blur. Fans started seeing Bai Lu not just as an actress, but as someone trapped in a repeating cycle of love and loss. They compared her life to her characters, linking her rumored relationships to on-screen betrayals. Some even said she was cursed by her roles, destined to relive heartbreak after heartbreak until she found a story that finally gave her peace. Yet, the truth is more complicated. Those close to her say Bai Lu has always been cautious with love. Her dedication to her craft often leaves little space for romance. Long filming hours, endless promotions, and constant public attention can turn love into a challenge. But it doesn't mean she's unlucky. It means she's human. Still, fans can't help but wonder. Why does she never seem to find someone who stays? Why does every rumor fade as quickly as it appears? In one quiet moment during a behind-the-scenes interview, Bai Lu looked away from the camera and smiled faintly. "Maybe I'm just waiting for the right story," she said. "Not the perfect one. The right one." Those words gave fans hope. Because maybe Bai Lu's story isn't one of misfortune at all. Maybe it's a story still being written. Perhaps her so-called unluckiness in love isn't a curse, but a reflection of her bravery. She doesn't chase shallow happiness. She waits for something real, something worth her loyalty and her silence. And that's what makes her different. Her characters cry, fall, and rise again. So does she. Every heartbreak she portrays becomes a lesson, a mirror of what love costs and what it teaches. Maybe Bai Lu's love story isn't about finding someone to complete her. Maybe it's about finding herself through every role, every loss, and every act of forgiveness. As night falls on another drama set, Bai Lu sits quietly, reading through her next script. Outside, the world still speculates, still writes its own stories about her. But she knows something the public doesn't. Every heartbreak, every tear, every goodbye, they've made her stronger, not weaker. So when you next see her on screen, remember this. Behind that pain is not just an actress. It's a woman who has chosen to live truthfully, no matter how hard it gets. The lights faded after the final scene was shot, and yet Bai Lu stayed still, sitting quietly on the edge of the set, her hands trembling slightly as she looked at the empty space before her. Everyone else had left, the laughter had disappeared, and what remained was a fragile silence that wrapped around her like a familiar ghost. It was that silence that she had learned to live with, one that followed her through every role, every heartbreak, and every quiet night when fame was not enough to fill the emptiness. Her heart had been borrowed too many times by the characters she played, by the men who promised to understand her, and by the dreams that kept slipping through her fingers. Behind every tear she shed on screen, there was a piece of her that was real. The pain was not acting, it was remembering. Remembering the promises that never lasted, the messages that stopped coming, and the connections that faded once the camera stopped rolling. For Bai Lu, love had become a performance too, not because she wanted it to be, but because the world never allowed her to love quietly. Every glance, every rumor, every photo was turned into a headline. Every silence was twisted into a story. And so, she built her heart into a fortress, smiling even when she was breaking inside. But what fans never saw was the side of her that stayed awake long after midnight, scrolling through old scripts and wondering if she was the problem or the pattern. She began to ask herself if fate had already decided her story, both on and off screen. Could it be that her unlucky love stories were more than fiction, that they were reflections of her truth? There were whispers once, about a man who had loved her quietly, far from the lights and chaos. Someone who saw her not as Bai Lu the star, but as the girl who laughed too easily and cried when no one was watching. But that love was short-lived, crushed beneath the weight of schedules, distance, and unspoken expectations. In one rare interview, Bai Lu was asked what love meant to her now. She paused for a long time before answering, her voice trembling slightly. "Love is not always about happy endings," she said softly. "Sometimes, it's about learning how to stay kind even when your heart is tired. It's about knowing when to let go and when to keep believing." That answer went viral overnight, with fans calling her the Queen of Resilience. But only she knew what that phrase truly cost her. Because resilience was not a gift, it was a survival mechanism. She had learned to stand even when her world tilted, to smile even when her eyes carried the weight of unspoken sorrow. As years passed, her dramas grew deeper, more emotional, more real. Each role seemed to mirror her evolution. The woman who once chased love was now the one who understood it from afar. She became a symbol of quiet strength, her characters speaking for the millions who had been hurt and yet refused to give up on love. One night, while filming under the cold city lights, Bai Lu looked up at the sky and whispered to herself, "Maybe I was never unlucky in love. Maybe I was just meant to feel it differently." Her assistant saw her smile faintly after that and realized something had changed. Bai Lu was no longer searching for love to complete her story. She was learning to be the story itself, imperfect, emotional, and endlessly brave. When the last scene of her most recent drama wrapped, the crew applauded, but Bai Lu's eyes glistened with something deeper. Not sadness this time, but peace. The kind of peace that comes when you stop asking why and start accepting that every heartbreak was simply leading you closer to yourself. In the closing moments, as she walked out of the studio and into the soft morning light, she whispered to her reflection in a glass door, "I am not unlucky. I am just still becoming." And for the first time it felt true. So maybe the real story of Bai Lu is not about being unlucky in love, but about rediscovering what love really means, not in the arms of someone else, but in the quiet realization that she had carried it within her all along. To the fans watching, her journey became a mirror of their own. Her tears became their release, her strength their inspiration. And as the screen fades to black, one message lingers in the hearts of those who listen: sometimes love does not fail you, it teaches you.